Hello.
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 Oh, that was almost in harmony, wasn't it?
We should start a barbershop
Hello.
trio.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, we're going all Kenny Everett on us.
Welcome along to, it is actually episode 8 this time. I said it was episode 8 last time. It is actually episode 8 of Bluebell Notes.
Well done. Neil Povey can count to 8. This is good news.
I couldn't last time. Yes, I'm Neil Povey.
I'm Spider Tippler.
Oh, Spider?
Spider, that was my nickname.
Was it?
Yeah.
And I'm Josie the Neck.
So is that what you were doing? Is that a nickname?
That's like the worst nickname ever, Josie the Neck.
Honestly. Yeah, okay, Spider. And there was a spider in Bad News, wasn't there? Comic strip.
Yeah, and Spider Stacy in The Pogues, of course.
Ah, right, okay.
So,
well, all right, maybe we might have to bring that one back.
Cool.
I like that. Well, anyway, welcome along. Another episode of Bluebell.
Sorry,
Notes.
my name's Jim, by the way.
It is Jim, yeah. We've got a pretty packed episode for you today. We had a lovely Bluebell Roots on Sunday night. We're going to talk about that. We've got some live music from one of our floor spots, Phil Jones, the lovely Phil Jones, who came along, did a couple of songs for us. And then we had our main guest, Joe Topping. So we got an interview with him and a live track from him. And then I think we're going to talk a little bit about Fat Tuesday as well, aren't we?
Yeah.
As well as our sort of main topic this week, which is going to be about travelling, moving around the country as a musician. We chatted a little bit to Joe about that. So that's what's coming up in today's show. So, Bluebell Roots, the last one in the kitchen.
No, I think the stoves were being removed yesterday.
Oh, were they?
I think
Oh,
so.
my goodness.
We went past today and I didn't like to look in the window,
No.
but it would have been very
Oh,
sad.
yeah.
I noticed the sign wasn't up outside anymore.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Oh, end of an era. I mean, 7 years. We've
Yeah.
had about 7 wonderful years that we've had in the kitchen with Philippa and Michael.
Taking 18 months out of that, of
Oh,
course.
yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah,
For
yeah,
COVID.
we did.
Well,
Yeah, we did some
carried
stuff
on,
in the
didn't we?
woods.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, but
did
we
some-
weren't actually
We
in the
weren't
kitchen.
in the kitchen.
No, but then people were in their kitchens,
Yep.
which worked quite well as
Yep.
well. I liked that. But yeah, nevertheless, it's a 7-year kind of partnership, which is going to continue in the new venue at Arlington Village Hall. Philippa
Yeah.
wants to come up with another name for the Village Hall, doesn't she? I'm not quite sure how we're going to do that, but
Yes.
I just think we'll call it Arlington Hall. It sounds a lot
yeah,
more grand.
I think it
doesn't
does.
It
doesn't
sounds a
Yeah.
bit sort of ITV docudrama-ish to me.
Arlington Hall,
Yeah.
like Broadchurch.
Yeah,
or something
Broadchurch,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, and of course Arlington's important to Americans as well, isn't it? Because they've got the national
Yeah.
cemetery.
Yeah, in
there,
DC,
isn't it?
yeah.
In Washington.
we
Yeah.
went there.
Well, maybe we'll have global appeal
Who knows?
when we do that. So yeah, so that's so it was very, very lovely. We should we talk through what happened?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So you guys did something.
We did something with, we did a song, and then we did a song with Jade. We
Otherwise known as
morphed-
Music and Lyrics.
She's
Yes.
now that's
This
her
is her
new
stage name.
stage name. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great.
It was
we
good
had
fun.
we had a lot of fun.
You literally kind of arrived because you'd been travelling.
I think we just hit the ground running this
Yeah,
time. We
yeah.
must have
We
had
had-
some adrenaline.
Yeah, we came in and we had to obviously muck in and get ready, and it because you were busy as well getting set up.
I was a little bit stressed because I'd brought my new mixer, so,
Yeah.
and I'd forgotten. I felt confident with it the last time I used it. It's been a long time since the last time I used it, and yeah, so I was a bit stressed.
Yeah, so time we sort of mucked in and sort of set lights up, and heart rate was up,
I
Yeah.
bet.
and
And
we
also-
thought, yeah, we hit the ground running, didn't we?
I didn't have my watch on. I wasn't clock watching. And I think that makes a big difference, actually. When you're clock watching the whole time, think, oh, we've got to start in 5 minutes. We've got to start now. And
Yeah, I
it's-
think we
if
went
you're
with the
not-
flow a bit more, didn't we,
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah,
watching.
you
the
didn't.
clock.
You said you didn't
started-
feel stressed.
No, I didn't feel stressed at all this time. There
Oh,
was
that's
I think
good.
there was just a lot of love in the room.
There was
actually.
a lot, and
It
a lot of
was-
lovely people. One of our biggest crowds
Yeah.
recently as well.
Yeah, it was
and
good.
so
Lots of new faces.
Yeah, which is also good.
Yeah.
Then we had Phil Jones came and did a couple of tracks. Phil from Long Way Home.
Yeah.
Is it Long Way Home Recordings?
I think it's just productions.
Or productions,
I think.
that's
Yeah.
it. So I beg your pardon, Phil. Sorry about that. Always lovely to have Phil. He's got a great story to tell always, and we're going to hear one of Phil's songs a little bit later. And then Bill and Jenny,
Yes.
or Jill and Benny, as you insisted on the last time they played. Bruce and Carolyn did another number. They did it nude,
Yes.
Yes.
naked. I decided that was my term for unplugged now. So without the PA. Two's company regulars at Bluebell Roots as well,
Yeah,
Kathy
Kathy
and
and
Mick, and then sort of 3/4 of Contraband.
Yeah, that was good. And the
But
setup on that was good, though, wasn't it?
It was
I think
great.
it was 2/3 of Contraband, wasn't it?
Hang on.
With Emma.
Well,
No, it wouldn't be 2/3 because there were 3 of them.
Half.
Well,
half then.
well, I was just going by what Ian said, and he said 3/4 of Contraband. So I don't know whether Emma plays with them that regularly.
Anyway,
Yes,
some
there
of
was
Contraband.
Contraband and some of Kill Namara.
But Contraband, more known for traditional folk, and what they did wasn't quite so traditional. Keyboard with a piano.
Yeah, if you've seen them before, that's kind of what they do.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is. They take in sort of some traditional Scottish, Irish, and English stuff.
Yeah.
But they also play some written stuff
Yep.
that isn't traditional. And
Okay.
they play stuff from
Yeah.
other traditions as well. I think Ian said one of the songs they played was a slowed down Canadian
Yeah,
dance
he did.
tune.
Yeah, yeah.
It was rather beautiful,
It was
wasn't it?
incredibly
With
beautiful.
the two fiddles.
Yeah, with 2 fiddles and the
vocal.
piano, and then Ian singing as well. So that was really nice. And then Two's Company kind of came back because
Yes.
there's a bit of history with this because Kathy adapted a very well-known song to make it into a song about Philippa's restaurant. And because we were leaving the kitchen, she did a special version, which
Yes.
was really had me in tears. Genuinely, and my eyes were
Yeah,
filling
you
up.
said you were
and
a bit
because
choked.
of it being our last one, and obviously we had a little gift for Philippa, which was rather lovely
Yeah.
too. So
And Philippa and Michael, I mean, have just been the most unbelievably brilliant hosts
They
in
have.
that place.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
But the great thing is we're taking them with us. They're going to come with us
I know.
to the hall.
Yes.
So we're still going to have the benefit
We've
of the
packed
wonderful
them away
cooking.
in a box, ready to unpack in the village hall.
Gaffer
Yeah.
tape over the top. Yep. So yeah, we'll get them out in a month's time. So yeah, brilliant. Okay, let's hear us.
Made some little holes in the box for them,
Of
just in
course.
case anybody's worried.
Yes,
Yeah.
with something very sharp. We're going to hear a song from Phil Jones. He introduced it. I haven't got his introduction on this recording that we've got here, but basically he said, people like singing along. But he said, but this one's got actions as well.
Yes, yeah, we're all doing the actions,
If you
weren't
can
we?
imagine the people doing actions to all of these little bits that Phil is singing about, then you'll get a bit of an idea about what it was like in the kitchen. This is called Drive Safe.
Drive safe, eat right, that's it, oh you're good. Use your wipers when it's raining, put your headlights on at night. Stay away from the bugs, take your vitamins, and your journey to hell's begun. And we'll all be here, same time, same place, one trip around the sun. Yeah, okay, we got next time. Well, my uncle rang last Tuesday. For him, things didn't look so good. He'd lost his old dog Ron, aged 15 years, his wife struck down with flu. As we counted the cost of the recently lost, a sigh lingered in the air. He said, listen now, son, old buddy, old chum, you better not be going nowhere. You got it? Drive safe, eat right, eat right. Use your wipers when it's raining. Put your headlights on at night. Stay away from the bugs, stay away from the bugs. Take your vitamins and your journey to health's begun. And we'll all meet here, same time, same place, one trip around the sun. Now Brian, he was a hooligan, and Hugh, he was a drunk. These are my old friends. But Parrot died of cancer when all the world was young. But Janice, she had a little girl, and it's hard to find it just that I sit here complaining 'cause it's June and it's raining while she's lying in the graveyard dust. That's right. Drive safe, eat right. A bit louder, I think. Use your wipers when it's raining. Put your headlights on at night. Stay away from the bugs, take your vitamins, and your journey to hell's begun. And we'll all meet here, same time, same place, one trip around the sun. No, there ain't no God or you're after, do I think. I wish there was, it's true. 'Cause what we got here is what we got here. But getting old is getting hard to get used to. Oh, it's for me anyway. Nancy from the side of the stage, too full of myself to care. When Sandy came through, I'd better things to do, but I can't remember where. We'd pass off our days as if nothing, squander our lives away. So don't just promise to speak, say I'll ring you next week. Right now turn to your neighbor and say, drive safe, eat right, use your wipers when it's raining, put your headlights on at night, stay away from the bugs, take your vitamins, and your journey to health's begun. And we'll all meet you same time, same place, one trip around the sun. Yes, we'll all meet you same time, same place, one trip around the sun. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening. Thank you.
That's Drive Safe by Phil Jones live Bluebell Roots on last Sunday night. Well, not. It depends on when you listen to this, I suppose. Yeah. One Sunday night in March 2025.
Well, it was last Sunday night at the moment.
It was lovely. Joe, you were saying about how Phil introduced it.
Yeah, it was a lovely sentiment because he was saying he was inspired to write it after going to an event, and there were people missing from the event. So it's about sort of making the most of your friends and your friendship while they're still there. Keep in touch.
Yeah.
And look after each other.
There's an element of an age thing involved in that, isn't there? Obviously, the older we get, perhaps the more likely it is that we may not see certain friends again, and so on. And but then there are some people who are taken too young as well, and it is. I think it was a really lovely sentiment, and people enjoyed it. And you can't really hear everybody quite so well on that recording because I messed up the recording. It wasn't my fault, but lovely sentiment. And we're gonna. I had this idea, and I've spoken to Phil about it because Phil lives on a boat. Because that was the other thing he was talking about, because his boat's flooded.
He's got a leak.
Yes,
he's got a leak in his boat, which sounds horrible. And there is a chance that at some point we might take all the podcast kit and go and record one over there.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I don't think that would be really nice.
Oh, he's doing a songwriting workshop, isn't he?
Is he?
In May.
Oh, on the boat.
And I've noticed that he's added an extra date because it's so popular. So
that's good news.
You need to get in there quick if you want to.
If you don't know Phil Jones, he's got his album Saint... What is it, St. Peter's? No.
St. Peter's Thumb.
St. Peter's Thumb, yeah, it is, yeah. St. Peter's Thumb. But he's also part of Hatful of Rain, who've been around for at least 10, 12 years.
Do you know what
now.
St. Peter's Thumb is?
Is it a mountain or something like that?
No, it's a good call, though, that, actually. It could be.
It sounds like a mountain.
No, it's is it on the John Dory fish?
Yeah, it's a fish.
On John Dory fish.
Right.
It's got a little spot on its side, and it's supposedly been where St. Peter picked one up out of the...
No way.
Yeah, he had some ink on his thumb or something.
I love that. That's good.
Just squeezed a bit too hard. He was a bit heavy-handed, St. Peter.
Be careful. You've bruised it.
Yeah, you bruised it now.
Well, that one, I'll have to go on reduction on the counter. Stick it in the ice at the back.
Going to have St. Francis on your case, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, bless you. So, yeah, it was a lovely night. Really night. Okay, so we're going to talk more about... travelling. That's our sort of main theme for this month's this edition of the podcast. So, travelling. We had a guest on Sunday night who had travelled an enormously long distance. Actually, not on that day, but he was from a long way away.
Yes.
Joe came down from... Well, he'd driven down from Lincolnshire on that day. He talks about that in the interview, which we'll hear later. But he's from the Wirral, Liverpool. But he tours all over, doesn't he? And he's...
he does, yes.
So we'll hear his thoughts on that as well. But I'm kind of interested because obviously it's not something I do. I'm not a touring musician, but you guys do.
Yeah.
You travel a lot. and particularly over the last year or so, because you had your, we want to do 60
Our
gigs
challenge,
in our 60th year. So you've been to some far off places.
Yeah, we take the Bluebell Roots Day, for instance, the one just gone in March. We came back from Glastonbury, and it wasn't a huge long drive, was it? It was about 2.5 hours, I guess.
That's not too bad.
Coming back was pretty good. Coming back was very good. I think it was about 3 hours.
Because heading west from where we're in East
yeah.
Sussex, and heading west can be tortuous. I mean, once you got off the end of the M27, it can be horrible.
Yeah, we wanted to do that because it's a very nice festival. It's called Glastonbury Calling, and we wanted to go into that area anyway. Mm-hmm. What we were being paid wasn't going to cover our costs, but we met a lot of people there.
Yeah,
and you also get to check out some of the venues and things. For instance, one of the venues that we went to see another band during that festival was it the Avalon Club?
Yeah.
And they do an acoustic night.
Right.
So we found out about that while we were there, and we chatted to lots of other musicians. You met somebody that you know through Facebook.
Yep.
So there was a lot of networking going on.
Okay.
So from our point of view, it was nice. We had a 45-minute set.
Yeah.
We got to play as part of a festival. We got to do some networking, and we just had a really nice time away.
Yeah.
Sold some CDs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we
Got
sold
people
some
on
CDs.
on the
Yeah.
mailing list.
That's
Yeah.
good.
And this is the thing. People do this stuff for different reasons, don't they? We're very lucky. We're a married couple. We can tour around the country, and we can deal with it.
Yep.
We can treat it either as out and out. We've got a job of work to do.
Sure.
We've got to go there. We've got to do this gig, and this is work. But equally, we can take the choice and say, look, this is going to be like a subsidised trip to spend a weekend in Glastonbury,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
and play some tunes,
And
meet
do
some
that.
nice people.
Yeah. As a side.
Yeah.
But it's different for different people.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Absolutely.
You know, that everyone's got a different sort of take on that.
But in terms of distance, what sort of distance are we talking down to Glastonbury? What sort of 80, 90 miles, something like that?
Oh no, more 150 miles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
it's at least a 300-mile round
Yeah.
trip.
Oh, right,
Probably
okay.
about 380 miles.
We
something like
tied that in with going somewhere else as well.
that. Oh yeah, we
So-
did get lost.
I like Josie's spin on it, though. We tied it in, we're going somewhere else.
We always
Yeah,
get lost.
That's what we call it.
Even with the
But-
sat nav, we get lost.
But we've been to a gig by train, and we've been put up by the hosts. We played a house concert. Got there by train, managed to walk from the station to the venue. We're put up overnight, and then we just got the train back the next day.
Yeah.
Because there's no way we would have been able to get the train back that night.
Right.
And if we were driving up, we would have had to pay the ULEZ.
Yeah.
So for us, it worked. But again, for a professional musician, that's not necessarily going to be viable, is it?
Wouldn't it be great if, like, the train companies did a musician's card?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a rail
It's-
card for musicians, yeah.
Yeah,
Or-
I wrote to the Musicians Union suggesting that. I
Yeah.
haven't
What, that
heard
they
anything
lobby,
back. Lobby for
National
yeah.
Rail.
Yeah, I
For a
don't think it would
discount card for
wouldn't take that
musicians.
much, would it?
It wouldn't, and there's like 14 different rail cards, aren't there? There's
Yeah.
the two together rail card. There's a rail card for if you're between 57 and 59, So
Yeah.
there ought to be one for travelling musicians.
What you want,
So-
is a card that gives you a discount for overnight trips. So if
That's
you're
it.
going one day and you have
Because
to
it's
come back the
effectively
next
two
day.
singles, isn't
Yeah.
it? Otherwise,
Yeah,
that's a
you
good
need
point.
to be able to discount that.
What do you think is the majority of musicians are doing? Are they using cars? Because
Oh, yeah.
Joe came in a camper van,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so he's got the option to sleep in the camper van if he needs to.
Yeah.
Sadly, it's still so much more cost effective just to jump in your car. I mean, we went up and played in Croydon last year in February.
Right.
So we've got a two together rail card,
Yeah.
so we got that discount, and financially it was all right
Okay.
Yeah.
because we didn't have to pay ULEZ
Right.
and no
And
parking.
timing wise, it
Timing-wise,
worked.
it was
The
okay.
gig finished at the right time for us to be able to get the last train back.
But an almighty cock up on. I'm going to say it, Southern Rails.
I don't think it's a
coming back.
secret that things have gone wrong for Southern sometimes.
Well, they dumped us. What happened was there was engineering works between Lewis and Polegate.
Yeah.
And they said, well, there's going to be a replacement bus. They dropped us off at Lewis, in the middle of February. It was about -2 outside. Waiting room was closed, and this replacement bus would be along in about 2 hours.
Oh my word, that is infuriating. So there is that risk.
Yes.
That's it.
There,
it's
isn't
the
there, as
risk.
well?
Yeah, you've been
Yeah.
busy working for the night, and we have been busy.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
a long night.
You're tired.
You're
really
tired, you're cold. So there's always that risk with.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a risk with driving because your car could break down, but
Yeah.
at least they're being
Unfortunately.
recovered.
That's
but
true.
Yeah, they
and
hadn't
you can
got
stay
to
in the
get to a
vehicle.
gig,
You don't
yeah.
have to stand outside a freezing station.
Yeah.
Johnny Campbell, he came down for Bluebell Roots, didn't he?
Yeah.
From
I think he
somewhere
lived in
Yorkshire.
Leeds.
Yeah, and
Did he get the bus?
he got the coach down to London.
Yep.
And then got the train down to us. We picked him up from the
Yeah.
station. We put him up overnight, and then he did the return journey back.
I wonder how many people rely on what you've just said there about being put up overnight, because you've done that before for a number of guests that we've
Yeah.
had. At
We
Bluebell Roots.
always offer it,
Yeah,
and we always will, because even if it's just we're about hopefully going to move in the next few months, and our house is going to be a lot smaller, but
Right.
it might be that somebody's going to have to sleep on the floor on some cushions, or I'll put you up. But we'll always put people
Yeah.
up.
Okay. So people are travelling the whole country. Have you been to Scotland at all on your travels, or are you just within England?
Yeah.
Where did you play in
haven't.
Scotland?
We played in Western Scotland for Irvine. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The beautiful thing about this, and we mentioned this with Joe actually, is you get to see, as he said, you get to see places you just wouldn't choose to necessarily go to. And I don't mean that they're places that are beautiful and you're like seeing these beautiful places that you wouldn't normally go and see. I mean, you go to places, there's no reason why we should be going to a place like Irvine, which has suffered from lots of social problems because of with shipbuilding ending there, ending of the steel industry in there. So it's got a lot of problems. And why would we have gone there?
Yeah, if you weren't actually there to play.
But we went there and we just had the most brilliant night and met the most beautiful people.
Yeah, wonderful people, weren't they? So friendly.
And
that must kind of restore your faith in humanity to a certain extent, because you know you don't, if you're going somewhere that's like it is off the tourist trail. I mean, why should it be any different? I suppose, but
well,
the
idea
idea that you're meeting and find what a community is like.
Totally, yeah. We did a thing there, and it's like a procession of women of a certain age coming in,
okay,
and putting a bottle of wine on the table and sitting there for the evening, and they were just brilliant.
How lovely!
It was really nice. And then you go 15 minutes up the coast and you're looking across the Firth. Is it the Moray Firth? I don't know. Clyde, it would be the Clyde. Glasgow. To these islands across the Firth.
Yeah, it was
and beautiful beaches,
stunning views, wasn't it? And the sea was sparkling, and it was just enchanting. I don't think we've had one single trip away like that. We've come home and thought, we're never doing that again.
No.
We've always found something wonderful.
There's payoffs, essentially, is what you're saying. So although it may not pay financially, like you said, you went to Glastonbury, it wasn't viable from a financial point of view. But however, you sold some CDs, so that sort of helped a bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, you paid for the gig. You're also networking, and that may lead to something else, a work elsewhere. So there's an element of that being a payoff, but also actually there's a payoff for your heart in terms of what you see and what you get.
But we're making it sound like we only do gigs that are not financially viable. We do.
No, I don't mean that.
But I mean that's what we're talking about at the moment. But I mean, we try and negotiate a fee that will justify the trip.
We can only do those because we get the gigs that are definitely financially viable.
So you make a choice.
So is there a little bit of like, for some gigs you might make more than you might have expected and it's closer to home, and that in a way subsidises your ability to go somewhere else.
Yes.
And that's, I guess, what it's like for many musicians at this kind of grassroots level, that's probably how things are going to be, particularly if they do want to travel further.
It's fairly general.
Yeah, and I think you regard that as, rather than you're making a loss on it, the difference between what you would have been paid and what you're paying out, you regard that as your advertising budget.
Right, gotcha.
Part of your marketing.
That takes you into the idea of, we can give you some exposure.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want to go down that route, do we? No,
well, with Bluebell Roots, we've always said that it's we don't guarantee a fee, but you will get a really great listening audience.
Yeah,
I can tell you what the fee will roughly be.
Yeah.
But then we did kind of leave it to the artist to see if it's
suitable
for them.
And they can make that decision.
They can make that decision.
No, that's fair enough. And
I think it's kind of fair enough.
Yeah, I think it is. Go on,
sorry, I just wanted to flag up there that we're not saying that we're expecting people to come and pay just for 20 quid or something.
No.
We expect our audiences to put a decent amount in the pot.
We do, and we make a suggestion as well. And hopefully that's what other events do as well. If they're doing a pay what you can afford kind of model, which is sort of what we do, it's a pass the hat event. Hopefully those that are not ticketed like us are doing something similar so that it works well for musicians, because
Yeah.
ultimately a lot of these are people who are trying to make a living out of it.
Yeah.
Which kind of, in a way, takes us nicely into what we did on Friday last week before Bluebell Notes, because it was Fat Tuesday over the weekend. This is something you've been involved in for a long time, a Hastings-based 5-day festival, which is all based around grassroots music and venues and musicians. Takes place obviously in Hastings, but on the first day is what they call the unconvention. And the idea behind an unconvention is that if you're a working person and you get sent on a conference somewhere, the best bits of it are the bits where you're chatting with other people in between, the networking side of it. And that's kind of how they base the unconvention on, the ideas that might be talked about in those times. And Jeff Thompson, who we spoke to, and actually we recorded an interview with Jeff and with Hannah from Fat Tuesday, who's the general manager, and talking about what are the challenges facing musicians. And that was actually one of the seminars that we were sort of there for. And it was really interesting, and obviously travel comes up in that. And one of the things that they said was about, and I think that they're perhaps aiming this more at bands that are looking to get sort of fairly major big in the music scene, as it were, was the idea of build up a really good following at home, was one of the things that they suggested, wasn't it? And then take it outside of that, so that you've got that strong fan base, and then it sort of leaks out from there. I thought that was a really interesting thing, because we then talked to Joe about that, and we'll hear his thoughts on that later, because I think it's different in different sectors of the music industry, isn't it?
That's our feeling, certainly with and certainly different geographical locations as well. If you're in a if you're in a conurbation or a large city, or a large town, you've got more chance of doing that. If you haven't got that kind of base and those kind of small venues, where that it's cool to play, you're not going to be able to do that so easily.
No, you exhaust the venues quite quickly. You can't keep on playing the same venues every couple of months. And you exhaust, as it were, the audience.
But there were all sorts of other things as well. What was really positive about it, I thought, was that there were people there from PRS, from the Music Venue Trust, and charities that support musicians in order to help them to do the Arts Council, as you say, and talking about the grants and things as well that they do that make it available. And as I say, we might put this together, because I've recorded a few bits and recorded an interview with Jeff and with Hannah, and we'll perhaps put that into a bonus episode. We're doing the podcast thing now, so you have to have bonus episodes. So we might try and do that. So keep a lookout for that.
And it's worth doing it because you enjoy it so much.
Yeah, and actually going back to the travel thing, a lot of the artists who come and do that aren't Hastings artists.
No, they're London and beyond, aren't they? Manchester,
for sure. Yeah. We've had hip hop bands, haven't we? Who have come down from all over.
If you don't know about Fat Tuesday, look it up. I mean, obviously you've missed it now, but it happens every Shrove Tuesday.
Hastings Fat Tuesday.com.co.uk.
Yeah,
one or other.
You'll find it, just searching Hastings Fat Tuesday. It's a brilliant festival. I mean, I met on the Saturday. I was travelling around. I was doing the travelling, walking from venue to venue to go and see different acts. And it's like a big spreadsheet with who's playing where at what time, and I just tried to make it into a list. And then I found I'd left myself no time to get between two venues.
So you did 15,000 steps?
I did, yeah.
Or was it 1,500? No, 15,000.
15,000 steps I did on
Mind
Saturday.
you, you've got very short legs.
Oh, thanks very much. My short, fat, hairy legs.
200 of anybody else's.
Well, if you think about how many steps the musicians would be doing then,
exactly.
They're running between
the
venues as well.
Exactly.
They're doing it at speed.
But I met a number of people who had just turned up in Hastings for the day and had kind of got involved and were just saying how wonderful it was. And it is wonderful. But like you say, there's got to be a way of making it sustainable and keeping it going. Okay, so let's get back to Joe Topping. We grabbed Joe after Bluebell Roots on Sunday night for a chat. We talked about travelling with him. Well, we talked about all sorts with him, didn't we? Music that he makes and how you can find out a little bit more about him. Let's hear from Joe. The last Bluebell Roots in the kitchen is all over. We're here and the after party, and we're joined by Joe Topping, who played for us tonight. Evening, Joe.
Hiya.
How did you find tonight? Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh, it was absolutely magic. Yeah, it's such a lovely little community everyone's got here.
There is something we found special, and people often say this, don't they? I mean, we try not to blow our own trumpets, but we've got a lovely gig.
We have got a nice gig, and no trumpets.
Yeah, and you've travelled a huge distance to get here today. You know, I mean, for people listening, we're in East Sussex, but you've come right down from the northwest.
Well, I had a gig in Lincoln's last night.
Oh, that's nowhere.
That's nowhere. It's not bad. I think it's about 3.5 hours. It's fine.
Oh, I'll take that question.
And I had
back.
all day to do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was
You
fine.
had a very nice day to do it.
It was a lovely
today.
day to spend in a van on the road.
Yeah.
This is a big thing that we find, and the longer this has gone on, the further musicians have travelled to get to us. And we had Liverpool before, actually, haven't we? You're the Wirral originally, which is near Liverpool. I mean, once it gets up there, it's a bit blurry for me. I mean, how far from Liverpool is the Wirral?
The other side of the Mersey.
Well, I grew up closer to Liverpool city centre than most Liverpudlians.
Oh, really?
Put it that way.
Oh, okay.
It's just a bit of a river in between.
Yeah.
That's it, the Mersey, I guess.
Yeah, the Mersey,
okay,
yeah.
all right. So it's actually fairly close then in that case.
It's a big river.
It is
Well,
a
there's
very
2
big river.
tunnels to get you under it.
Yeah.
And a
Or
ferry, of
or
course.
A ferry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess this is the lot of a musician, as Jim and Joe said. You're travelling back from a gig last night in Somerset. How many miles are you putting on the clock each year for this?
Yeah, quite a lot. It's just part of the job. I mean, most of the job is driving, and then a little bit of music at the end of the day. So you've got to like that. And it's hard in this country driving because there's always traffic jams, and even if you try and go home at night, they close the motorways.
Of course.
Infuriating.
Well, there's nobody about. Let's repair it.
Yeah, they've got to do it, but
Yeah.
it's disheartening when you're trying to get home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the travelling. I love seeing new places, parts of the country that people just don't get to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
So
not
many
necessarily
little villages.
the nice bits either, is it? You get to see places that aren't on tourist guides, for instance, and that sort of thing, and you meet people there that make you think this is such a brilliant place because there are brilliant people here, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you tour in other countries as well? Have you been abroad?
So sort of once a year, I go take my van up to Denmark and Holland. I'd like to do more in Germany as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to be in a folk band when I first started. When I was in my 20s, I was hired to be a guitar player in a folk band. And we used to do 6-week-long tours of Europe, Germany and Holland and Switzerland and all around there. And I just loved it. Bavaria, it's gorgeous, and I'd like to get back there as a
A lot
solo
of trees
artist.
in Bavaria, isn't there?
Yeah,
It's
lots
amazing,
of trees.
yeah.
And do you speak the language over there, or do you find people communicate in English?
Yeah, I don't have any other languages,
Right.
unfortunately. I've tried a little bit, but I always give up.
English and Scouse, surely as well. There's almost a dialect on that way,
But
isn't there?
music is the common language anyway, isn't it? So as long as you sing, you're okay.
Everywhere I've ever toured, there's always been. And to be honest, I was talking to my friend, I don't know if you know Alan Taylor.
No.
He's a singer-songwriter. He's great, and he's been touring Germany for years. And he's always said they don't want me to speak German. They like to practice their English. They find it charming the way he speaks.
Yeah.
And
Now, like a few new songs tonight, and you've got a bit of, been selling some CDs. What's on the cards for recording and so on with music for you for now?
Well, I've realised that a lot of my favourite albums are just really stripped back, basic albums. There's one that I'm listening to at the moment, which I just love, by an American called Jeffrey Martin.
Okay.
Called "Thank God We Left the Garden." And
Okay.
It's just recorded in his shed, and it's just so raw and beautiful, and I love it. And Anais Mitchell, we heard a bit of Anais Mitchell tonight.
Yep.
She did an album, re-recording some of her songs, just her and an acoustic guitar, and it's just my favourite.
She's phenomenal, Anais Mitchell. I know Bruce and Carolyn, who
massive
regularly
fans,
here, are
aren't they?
big fans, and I've seen her play live once. And okay, so that's the plan, is it? For
That's the
next
plan.
album?
So I'm going to record something similar. I'm going to record in my camper van.
Yeah.
Because you get a really good sound in there, because it's all carpeted.
A lot of soft furnishings,
and lots of soft furnishings.
Yeah.
And it sounds really good. And
There's a
so
thought.
I'm just
For
doing it
your
myself.
Ariba caravan, guys.
Yeah,
the next album.
definitely.
Get some shag pile on the walls, and away you go. Oh, that's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah,
I
they've
like
got
the
a
idea.
big
So
long
that's the plan,
basement.
to record the whole thing in the van.
In the
Different
van.
places, or you?
Yeah, well, I'm going on tour in Scotland at the beginning of April, and I've got a day off, so I'm going to go and find a mountain and record up there. And just do it like that, and just it's got to find somewhere quiet. But I don't mind, a bit of background noise, a bit of birds or whatever.
Yeah,
that'd be lovely.
Bit of ambience. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. And is there a timeline planned for that, or is that a
No,
this
I need
year
to make
thing,
one.
or
Definitely this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel some urgency for it. So,
what drives it for you? Is it you get inspired to write something, or do you plan to? Okay, I want to get through 10, 12 songs or something like that.
when I'm
When you're
planning
writing,
an album,
yeah.
No, I just think, I've got enough songs now. I need to start.
Do you
I need to record them to get them out of my system so I can start. I stop writing new songs because I feel like I need to get the old ones out of my system by recording.
Yeah, that's kind of the folk way, isn't it, really?
I guess so.
People don't tend to write for an album unless you tend to perform them, and then you kind of refine them and arrange them as you go, don't you? As you perform them. And then you do it and you play it completely differently to how you play it live anyway. That's how it works.
Exactly.
Well, we certainly found that, didn't we, when we were recording the last one? There's one song that we've recorded completely differently to how we play it, because it just didn't work when we were listening back to it. We thought, no, that doesn't work, and now we perform it differently.
So actually I might, because I'm not very good, I'm not knowledgeable about recording, so I think the plan is to ease myself in gently and do an EP of Bob Dylan covers. First.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
So because there's a Bob Dylan film,
I'm going to say you want to get on that bandwagon right now.
It's actually a coincidence. I just love Bob Dylan, and I've got lots of Bob Dylan songs that I can.
There are a lot out, isn't it? Like 70 albums or something, isn't it?
So I'm going to do that, and it'll help me learn what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Before I do my original stuff. I had the equipment to do recording for years, and it just always scared me, and I couldn't bring myself to try and work out how to do it. And then my son got diagnosed with dyslexia. I was reading the report and realised that I'm almost certainly the same.
Right.
And it just lifted a whole weight off my shoulders, and I thought, right, I've been running away from all this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And so I just started asking for help, and I realised I've got friends who can show me and help me through all this stuff, and it's broken the seal now, and it's good.
It's quite the music community is very supportive like that.
Yeah,
actually, isn't it?
exactly.
We were talking about that before, when it's in one sense it's sort of competitive because a lot of you are going for the same gigs, but at the same time it's a very sharing community in that you share gigs and tell people about where you've played, and the same goes with technology and so on. I think
one of the things I was going to ask is at this music convention we were at on Friday, one of the advice was for people starting out in music, get famous in your local town first. How is it for you now? Do you find you can play in your local town, or are you finding you're touring all the time?
I find it difficult at home, to be honest. I don't know what it is. When you play in your hometown, you're a local singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
When you play hundreds of miles away, you're a touring artist. And they don't see that at home. Yeah. So,
Yeah, it is interesting what you say that, though, in that perception of people, you're just a local boy at home.
Yeah. Like when we go to Denmark or Holland, I don't think I've ever played there where it hasn't been sold out, and it's the same when Americans come over here or... Yeah. It's
a weird psychology, isn't it, actually?
A little bit, yeah. But also, I can't play every week doing what I did tonight, because they'd be hearing the same bad jokes and the same stories. You have to leave some time in between your performances when you're doing this kind of music, I think.
And I like what you said about recording, the fact that you've got all these songs that you need to get out of your system. You need to create a creative vacuum to be able to create more songs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Something's got to fill that void, isn't it? Yeah. So, talking of the songs, we're going to hear a song from you, which actually I felt quite emotional about this evening. It's called. Was it "Start with the Sock Drawer"?
Yeah. Tell us. I know how you feel about socks.
He's very big on socks.
Very emotional about socks.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. No. I mean, the point of it being actually because it was a song that you wrote after you lost your mother. Is that right? Tell us a little bit more.
Well, I wrote it just for myself. I didn't think anyone would want to hear a song about socks. Honestly, it just came out. So I used to turn to my mum for advice, and obviously I couldn't get advice from her anymore. So I imagined what her advice to me would be.
Right.
And she was always telling me to tidy my room.
Of course.
When I was growing up, as you do to a teenage boy. So I imagined that she would be telling me to tidy my room still.
Sure.
And I just was thinking about that and how, getting up in the morning and making your bed, doing mundane, everyday tasks, and when you don't feel like it, when you don't feel like getting out of bed, and you're grieving and you don't know what to do with yourself, do something mundane, sort your sock drawer out or your cupboards, or and just put one foot in front of the other.
It's just breaking it into smaller, more manageable parts.
Exactly.
In a way. Yeah, it was lovely. So we're going to hear the live recording of that tonight. If people do want to hear more of your music, where's the best place for them to find out more about you, Joe?
At my website would be good. joetoppingmusic.com. Instagram, it's all joetoppingmusic.com.
Okay.
So Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm on Spotify as well.
Okay. Brilliant. So, where are you heading now? As we were talking about
I'm
traveling.
going to be heading home.
Okay.
And then I have a gig on Wednesday, I think, a songwriters circle in Frodsham, up in the northwest.
Frodsham. No, what a great name. Where's that near?
It's near Helsby.
That
doesn't help you, does
so
it?
helpful. Thank you.
It's
Remind me
near-
never to ask you to be my
It's in
navigator.
Cheshire. It's in Cheshire.
All right. So, well, good luck. Have a great journey back, and thank you so much for coming to play for us tonight.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you for having me.
Joe Topping talking to us after Bluebell Notes on Sunday night.
What a lovely bloke.
He was lovely, wasn't he?
Really nice.
Yeah.
Very chilled. He came in, and what you didn't see was, because you hadn't got there, you were late. Was we did his sound check before anybody else arrived. He got there quite early, so we were able to do a little sound check, which is quite a luxury, actually, it has to be said. So I was able to, even though I was a bit stressed about my new mix, I was able to set him up on some separate channels and then forget about that until he came on. So it meant that I could then, once he got started, it was nice and easy to just plug in and go. So and Frodsham. He's off to Frodsham, near, where is it?
Helsby.
Near Helsby. We all know that. So hello to anybody listening in Frodsham or Helsby, I guess.
Oh, no, I'm
really.
not talking to anybody in Helsby.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
You need to get out
Frodsham,
to Frodsham.
yes.
Yeah.
Right,
Get down to Frodsham.
Is it never the twain between those two? I was like, okay. Well, we should go and record an episode there.
In Frodsham or Helsby? Well, we can't go to Helsby now.
Not now, no. Well, I was
You've
gonna say-
alienated the entire population of Helsby.
It's somewhere near Manchester. I was Cheshire somewhere, apparently.
Cheshire,
He said,
yeah.
So I've
well,
no
we'll
idea.
have to check it out.
I've normally heard of places. It's not like me.
I had
not to
heard
have
of
heard
Frodsham.
Had you really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I heard of it the other day when Joe mentioned it.
It's like places like Diss.
And Dat.
Is there a place called Dat? I
There should
wish
be.
there was.
It's near Diss.
There should be. Do you know where Diss is? Diss is in Suffolk.
I did know. We've been
probably.
past Diss.
Well, I
Okay.
don't know.
And we probably said the same joke every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah. Anyway, that was Joe. He played a song which we mentioned in the interview that we're going to play, which was. The lovely sentiment behind it was, as he said, he lost his mum, and it was about advice his mum might give him. But it hit me in the feels, as they say, because I've got a teenage son, so I might start using this with him. Start because he struggles to tidy his room. Sorry, Ezra, but as does his sister Ruby. We should give credit to both of them for being equally untidy. But yeah, actually, it's a really good piece of advice. Rather than just shouting, tidy up. Just get it done. No, don't. Let's break it down. Start with your sock drawer. So this from Joe Topping is Start with Your Sock Drawer.
So this song has got a weird title. It's called Start with Your Sock Drawer. And it's just about waking up in the morning, doing something mundane, make your bed, put one foot in front of the other, sort your sock drawer out, sort your cupboards out, and make you feel better. Eventually you start getting your life back on course. So this is Start with Your Sock Drawer. Missing you today. There's clouds on the horizon and the black dog's on his way. And I miss the way you
make it better. But oh mother, how do you mend a broken heart when all the bricks that built your life have just fallen apart? If I close my eyes, I hear your voice tell me where to start to put it back together. So you'd say, start with your sock drawer, lay them all out on the floor, throw out all the ones with holes, you won't need them anymore. Put them all back in neat rows, just the ones you like to wear. Start with your sock drawer, just take it from there. So mother, I've been taking your advice, and the sorrow melts away in time like gently thawing ice. Letting go of what weighs you down sure feels nice. Now I'm like a feather. So start with your sock drawer, lay them all out on the floor, throw out all the ones with holes, you won't need them anymore. Put them all back in neat rows, just the ones you like to wear. Start with your sock drawer, and just take it from there. Deep breaths, short steps further from the pain. Deep breaths, short steps closer to feeling whole again. So start with your sock drawer, lay them all out on the floor, throw out all the ones with holes, you won't need them anymore. Put them all back in neat rows, just the ones you like to wear. Start with your sock drawer, and just take it from there. Yeah, start with your sock drawer, just take it from there. Thank you.
Just take it from there. Start with
Oh,
your
it
sock drawer.
was absolutely gorgeous.
So
wasn't it?
lovely. His sound was phenomenal.
Good, wasn't it?
And
Oh,
you had
stop
pedal
going
board.
on about your mixer.
No, it's
for
not that.
goodness sake. Oh, give it a rest.
Yeah, what I
it's-
was going to blame it on was his pedal board. He had a pedal board with two outputs and everything, and you had pedal board envy, didn't you?
I never have pedal board envy. I just like only that he understands what they all do.
Oh, right,
I've
okay.
had pedal boards in the end and think, well, what does that one do? And hit the wrong thing at the wrong time, and
Right.
it all goes very wrong.
But he
So
he was
I-
just a lovely singer, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah,
And
what a lovely voice.
He told the stories in between songs
Yeah.
really well.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah. So he's a proper troubadour.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, well, that was the word that came to me
Yeah.
because, funnily enough, I met Paul McClure,
Yeah.
who calls himself the Rutland Troubadour at Fat Tuesday Acoustic Saturday. And,
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and he's the same. Just moves around, tells the stories,
Yeah.
and goes from place to place. I mean, I saw a video of Paul after Fat Tuesday, like taking everybody out of the pub to sing outside.
Excellent.
Which was lovely.
Yeah.
And that's that kind of thing that makes a performance.
Well, the thing
I
was,
met-
sorry, I was just going to say with Joe, he didn't do that many songs.
no.
He didn't perform that many songs, but it didn't matter because it's all part of the the whole, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. And also he swapped about quite a lot. He had a lovely resonator guitar, did a bit of blues. Actually, if you go to the Bluebell Roots Facebook page, there's a bit of a video of Joe playing some Little Red Rooster, which is really great on the resonator. And he had a banjo as well.
Yeah.
And just made a lovely mix. But the songs were very, very personal, very heartfelt. That's a cliche to say that sort of thing, I know. But
I really like the dog and cat song.
Yeah, that was very funny. That was a lovely metaphor.
It was a really good song.
Yeah, the whole idea.
Don't spoil it. Yeah, don't spoil it for people. Let them hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was really nice. So yeah, to go and see Joe live in Frodsham, near Helsby, and check out his stuff. He's on, I think he's on Bandcamp, but it's joetoppingmusic.com, and you can find all the links on there to find his music if you want to hear some more of that. He's on Spotify too. So, and we've got more on the way when we're in our new venue. We are moving home, aren't we?
In April, yeah.
So April the 6th, I think it is, isn't it?
Yes.
April the 6th, next Bluebell Roots will be at Arlington Village Hall, or Arlington Hall.
Arlington Hall.
Just Arlington Hall. A stone's throw, spitting distance from our previous venue.
A lump of mud's throw in our case.
Yeah, at the moment.
It's a lot of mud out there.
Definitely. Yeah. And that road between the two is quite often you can't see the tarmac, can you? A lovely little venue. A slightly bigger venue, actually, really.
Yeah.
So in theory, we should be able to fit a lot more people
I think
in.
the capacity is 70 seated in there, as I think.
Right.
I think it might be more.
Yeah.
And we're going to be, what do they call it? A cabaret style, don't they? With the tables and chairs.
No, we're going to go refectory still.
Oh, we're going to do it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So long tables.
Yeah, let people bunch up.
All right, fair enough.
And get close and personal.
Good. All right.
And then hopefully we'll have space for dancing as well.
Yeah.
But who have we got? Anyway, who's playing?
Erica Steenkamp.
Okay, now we've had an Erica before. She was an Erica Olsen. I guessed it was Denmark. She said no, it was Sweden. But anyway, I was close.
She was an Erica with a K, and Erica Steenkamp's with a C. I think.
And she's originally from South Africa. And we were listening to a couple of her tracks, and think Suzanne Vega, possibly Anna Egg as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That kind of feel to her voice.
Yeah, we met her at Thornwell Road, didn't we? Chris Kennigan's.
Yes. Yeah.
And she was playing with her partner, Chris. But she's brilliant. And the thing is, as a guitarist, it's really interesting hearing Erica, because she writes like, who wrote All I Want to Do Is...
Sheryl Crow.
She writes like Sheryl Crow. She writes bass lines. Because Cheryl's a bass player. She writes on the bass. Apparently, this is what I've heard.
Yeah.
And when you hear Erica playing the guitar, she's playing the bass.
Right.
Just doing the bottom notes mostly.
Very interesting.
And she's like telling herself, when I was speaking to her, she said, I've really got to make myself play some of the top.
Well, I think that's what
strings.
she's doing now, because she hasn't got Chris to play with her at the moment.
Exactly.
I think this is going to be her first gig without Chris.
Right.
So I think she's doing more of her own.
She's in deep rehearsal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. She was just a beautiful voice. Yeah. Fantastic voice.
We're very lucky. We have some fantastic people come along, and we haven't had a dud in all the time that we've been doing.
Dud's coming in September.
Oh, is he bringing Pete?
Yeah.
So Erica Steenkamp on April the 6th. We've got all sorts of lovely themes and topics lined up for you. We're thinking of playing instruments. That's one of the things we were going to talk about, like different instruments at some point.
Well, I was talking about pickups to Joe the other night.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
we could do a whole show on pickups.
Yep. Maybe that should be a bonus episode. I could do a whole episode on podcast equipment and microphones and stuff like that. That'd be good fun.
I've got a pickup for my clarinet now, so
Have
I could join in with that one.
Yeah, it's magical what people can do with instruments to make them come out of speakers, isn't it? It's brilliant. Right, now, the other thing that's changed since the last time we did the podcast is that we are now available via many, many more platforms. So we're on Mixcloud still, but we're on Amazon Music, we're on Spotify, we are on Podbean, and Podbean distributes it to all over the place as well. It's going to be on Apple as soon as we get a logo big enough, and YouTube as well is on the way too. So we'll be available in lots of different places. So, and if you like it, it's not subscribe, it's follow. You have to follow and share and let us know what you think, please. We really do want you to let us know, and particularly if you've got any ideas of things that you would like us to talk about, that's something that we haven't thought about, this, vaguely along the lines of grassroots music and music venues and artists and musicians and so on, then let us know what you'd like us to chat about.
Yeah, I'd be particularly interested to hear from other musicians in terms of on that travel subject, and what makes them travel the distances to play the gigs, whether it is what the returns are for different cases, because we can only talk from our own perspective. So it'd be really interesting to
It
hear
would.
from other people to see what they do and why they do it.
And if you want to comment, then the best place for that is probably the Mixcloud one, because I don't think you can comment on podcasts on the other platforms. But yeah, you can comment on the Mixcloud one, so I'll make sure it still keeps going up there. But yeah, next time around, well, I haven't decided our theme yet, but there will be one. We will talk to Erica. We'll have an interview with Erica Steenkamp and some live music again, and that'll all be after the next Bluebell Route. So we're looking mid-April, aren't we? Sort of early to mid-April. So, but for now, thanks for tuning in. Tuning in is like we're on the radio. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for streaming.
Tuning in sounds better, doesn't it?
It
still?
does.
Yeah.
It still sounds
Let's go with
radio,
that.
isn't it?
Why not?
Thank you for listening. There we go. That's
Yeah.
From me, Neil.
From me, Spider.
And from me, Josie.
We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.
Bye.